November 1st, 42 million are gonna go starving, but Trump's gonna spend 300 million on a ballroom.
Are you freaking kidding me? Remember, make America great again. We're gonna focus on America. Really? Guess what happened this morning, folks? Argentinian beef. He announced this morning we're gonna be importing lots and lots of beef from Argentina. Well, guess what the Nebraska and the Oklahoma beef farmers said? Are you freaking kidding me?
Beef farmers watching Argentinian imports flood the market. Soybean farmers losing billions while Brazil takes their customers. MAGA mom on food stamps can't afford formula, begging family for help. All of them voted for this. Every single one. Here's the thing. When you vote like it's a revenge game, when your whole politics is about making sure someone else loses, you forget to check if you're in the blast radius. Farmers screaming about socialism, begging for bailouts, mom cheering welfare cuts, losing her wick, America First voters, watching jobs go to Argentina. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's get into it.
Farmers don't vote for Trump or for conservatives in general because they're ignorant or because they don't know any better. They do it because they're rich. The GOP and Trump have always promised to cut taxes for the wealthy, to lower or loosen regulations, and to make up any shortfalls by cutting services for other people, for working class people, for lower class people. The median farmer net worth in the United States is over $1 million. That's the median. It's not the average that's jacked up by a few outliers. Like, that is the median. Their incomes are far higher, like the household incomes, far higher than the median household income for people in the United States. Farmers are sophisticated, well-moneyed people who know exactly what they're doing. They vote Republican because they want to keep their tax breaks. They want lower taxes on their income. They want to lower or get rid of the estate tax, like all the taxes that apply to rich people. They did this for purely selfish reasons and knew exactly what they were getting into. And they assumed that those benefits would outweigh whatever chaos Trump created in the markets, with the export markets, tariffs, whatever, and assumed that they would probably get some kind of bailout from that too, which they very likely will.
And here's the scam. They'll get it. Another $20 billion bailout, just like last time. Top 10% of farms get 75% of the money, while a single mom needs 3 pay stubs and a blood test to get $200 in food stamps. It's socialism for the rich, capitalism for the poor, and they'll take the money, say nothing, and vote the same way next time.
So no, this is not something that can be attributed to ignorance or stupidity. This is malice.
Y'all notice all these cattle ranchers up in arms today? They are suddenly mad because the beef market has dropped since Trump is talking about some Argentinian beef. Oh, now they're upset. Now they want to talk about save the American farmer, right? See, this is what happens when racism runs the economy instead of logic. They voted for a man who sold them a fantasy that their white skin was going to be economic policy, and that somehow legislating harm and voting for harm towards black, brown, and immigrant communities was going to bring back the good old days, right? When America was great. But here's the gag. Capitalism don't love y'all either, boo-boo. See, Trump is not loyal to the American farmers like y'all thought he was. He is loyal to profit margins. What happened to all that? Oh, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Y'all were excited about that. And if it's cheaper to import beef from Argentina than to pay y'all's fair rate in Texas, Kansas, Ohio, wherever, then baby, he's gonna sign and seal that deal and watch y'all's family farm fold like a cheap lawn chair at the county fair. See, they thought voting for Trump meant putting others back in their place. All they did was put themselves in a chokehold of their own making. Because hey, when you vote for oppression, baby, you don't get to choose who gets crushed first. That ain't how that works. See, that's what I mean when I say racism is expensive.
Exactly. Racism doesn't just cost you morally, it costs you economically. When you vote based on spite, you don't just hurt the people you hate, you destroy your own markets, deport your own workforce, alienate your trade partners. Then you sit there shocked when your business collapses. Think about it. Who's picking the crops? Who's working the slaughterhouses? Who's doing the labor that keeps these operations running? Immigrants, many undocumented. And when you vote for mass deportations, when you vote for policies that terrorize those communities, you're not just being cruel, you're sabotaging your own supply chain. But here's what's wild. Even now, many are still defending their choice, still blaming immigrants, liberals, the media, because admitting they were wrong means admitting they sacrificed their families' futures for nothing. That's a hard pill to swallow. so they double down instead. They find new scapegoats, new excuses, anything to avoid looking in the mirror and saying, I did this.
It cost the worker, it cost the farmer, it cost the nation. See, they didn't realize they were sacrificing their own economy to feed their hatred. And now they're on here crying about losing markets, losing subsidies, losing land. And I can't even muster up a tear. Where was all this worry when it was our communities losing everything? So to all the Make America Great Again farmers, baby, welcome to the America you built, the America you voted for. America where greed don't know color and baby loyalty don't pay. Because Trump ain't y'all savior, baby. He's your landlord. Ooh.
For the past few days, this clip of this lady named Laura Anderson has been going absolutely viral across Miami, Florida, right? Because she is running for mayor here in Miami, and local journalists, I believe it was Local 10 News, are interviewing her about her statements in the past, idolizing Fidel Castro, saying that she wants to model that style of government here in Miami, toda esa basura, right? And she stands by those comments. She says that she doesn't argue with anyone in good faith who doesn't see all the great things Fidel did, todo eso, no? And those comments are obviously wrong because Fidel Castro was a psychotic, bloodthirsty dictator that has Cuba still, after almost 70 years, submerged in poverty and endless oppression, right? But what gets me is the hypocrisy of La Pila de Miami MAGA Latinos that we have here in this town. Because there's all this outrage, by all these creators that are MAGA here in Miami, right? Even though they don't make that kind of content, we all know they love Trump still to this day, right? So they make all this content, outraged about this topic, about this lady that realistically everyone knows in Miami, Florida, once you make those comments, you are not going to win anything, any position in local office. She's someone insignificant. If Local 10 wouldn't have interviewed her, no one will know she exists. And people are saying, communism is on the rise. You see, Miami, be careful, communism is on the rise.
Wait, so a random Miami candidate with zero chance of winning says something dumb, and suddenly it's a 5-alarm fire about communism. But actual authoritarian moves, third-term talk, detaining citizens, targeting journalists get a pass? This is selective outrage. They fled dictatorships, then voted for someone using the same playbook. As long as he's hurting the right people, they're fine with it. Until they're not, until they're the target. And by then, too late.
But my question is, where is the outrage of all these Miami MAGA Latinos with everything Donald Trump is currently doing actively to destroy this country? Where's all your outrage with everything Donald Trump is currently doing with immigration to our own people, to Latinos, legalizing racial profiling in this country? Where is your outrage for how they're tearing families apart, for how ICE is unlawfully detaining people that are U.S. citizens, green card holders, people that have pending asylum applications? Where's your outrage about any of those things? Here's a good one. Where's your outrage about the economy? Porque el año pasado, ¿quién los aguantaba? With, FJB, let's go Brandon, bro. Let's go protest outside Versailles. Where's your outrage about the price of eggs now? About gas? About a gallon of milk? All the things you were so pressed about, right? Where's that outrage now? Where's the outrage about the fact that this guy is exactly like the dictators you fled? Today, in an interview by the media, he was saying that he would not mind having a third term in office, despite the fact that that's barred by the 22nd Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Where is your outrage for how this guy is destroying the economy further, also with tariffs? Where is your outrage for how he's destroying education in this country, destroying healthcare that's already in a really bad state right now, and so many other things, the environment, an endless list? The answer is you have none, because many of you in Miami, despite the fact that this guy is destroying our country, continue to support Donald Trump. Many people have had their family members deported that I know, and they're like, it was a sacrifice that had to be made. I support Donald Trump.
Yeah, I want to jump on the bandwagon of saying that I regret my vote for Trump. My whole family does. My husband and I own a farm in Ohio that was funded through the Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed into law. And now the executive orders from Trump are rolling back all of that funding for us. So now we can no longer afford our farm. And when all that happened, it was like a lightning bolt hit my brain. And I realized that I shouldn't just be voting for myself, that Trump's policies and EOs are hurting millions of people. But it took it affecting me personally to understand what I had done was wrong. And I think it's really important for anyone to come out who voted for him and is now negatively impacted by the executive orders, or maybe you have friends or family, especially in minority communities, who are being very heavily impacted by what's going on right now. So yeah, I think it's time for us to stop being so selfish maybe and to vote for what's best for the country. And
Props for this. Takes real guts to admit you were wrong publicly. Most people won't. They'll defend their vote as their lives fall apart because admitting the truth means admitting they messed up. And once you tie your identity to a politician, it becomes personal. But here's the thing. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to grow. That's not weakness. That's maturity. Politics isn't about loyalty to a person. It's about doing what's right.
Welcome to We Told You So, episode 164. I don't know what you guys look like when you get out of bed, but me, I'm bringing sexy back. People like myself have been shouting since Trump's first administration that tariffs and trade wars just jack up the prices here on us at home. Meanwhile, he and his gullible voters seem to think that tariffs are the magical answer for everything. In fact, the tariffs in his first administration put such a strain on farmers that he had to bail them out for billions of dollars. Now they're saying they need to be bailed out for even more. And Trump said he would love to do that, but he can't because it's on delay because of the shutdown. The shutdown that he and the Republicans caused by trying to take away health care from people, which the Democrats have said is a red line. With the plan that Trump and the Republicans are trying to implement, people's healthcare costs are going to fucking skyrocket. But now Trump is also not just screwing over soybean farmers, he's now screwing over the beef farmers. Remember when everyone on the right was so pissed off because Fox News told you that Joe Biden was coming for your gas stoves and your burgers? Well, because of these tariffs, the price on beef has gone up about 20% because manufacturers are now boosting up their prices because of the tariffs. And Trump's answer is to say fuck the American beef farmers and just start importing more beef from Argentina. And all of these Trump-humping farmers are now like, wait a minute, aren't we making America great again? No, you're making Argentina great again. Because you're all fucking gullible morons. Meanwhile, Robert Reich pointed out that the people who donated for Trump's expensive ballroom are people like Google and Palantir, people who directly have profited or will profit off of Trump's bullshit. Once again, for the people in the MAGA who claimed for years that they cared so much about insider trading going on in Congress, they don't care when their God King does it and when he blatantly robs the American fucking people. Much like how he wants to take $200 million of taxpayer money and have the DOJ pay him that money because of all of the indictments that he received.
The DOJ, funded by taxpayers, is being asked to pay $200 million to someone for getting indicted for crimes they committed. Let that sink in. You commit crimes. You get indicted. Then you demand the government, our money, compensate you for being held accountable. The same people who screamed about insider trading, corruption, draining the swamp, silent, because it was never about corruption. It was about their guy winning. Once you decide someone's on your team, you'll defend anything, even when they're robbing you blind, and that's the real tragedy here. These people genuinely believed they were fighting against corruption, against the establishment, against the elites, but they ended up electing the most corrupt, most elite, most self-serving administration in modern history. They wanted to drain the swamp. Instead, they just changed the crocodiles.
And while this is not directly political, Europol recently took down a massive sim farming network that was powering 49 million fake online accounts. This is one of the many ways that the rich people in this country control the narrative. How many of these millions of fake accounts are actually moonlighting as Trump supporters? How many of them are pro-Russia bots? We have to remember that millions of the people online that we supposedly engage with are not real people. They're just phantoms that are made to make us believe that we are the minority and that the psychopaths are the majority, when in reality there's far fewer of them than we think, which unfortunately is what helps shape the narrative from the people on the right, that they think that Donald Trump is some massive job creator, when Barack Obama actually created nearly 12 million jobs during his time in office, and with the 400,000 measly jobs that Trump has created in 9 months, he's still at a net negative 2.3 million. MAGA is still celebrating Trump as a job creator when he has done nothing but lose American jobs. And yet these people who have to keep trying to convince themselves they are patriots have no problem with Donald Trump destroying the White House that has been a symbol of our country for hundreds of years. And while he and his syphilitic sycophants claim that he's going to be president in 2028 whether we like it or not, and it's against the fucking Constitution. All because they subscribe to that stupid originalist Constitution bullshit saying that everything since the Reconstruction era is invalidated, because everything boils down to their 200-year-old axe to grind that they lost the Civil War. And ironically, while Trump is on his revenge tour of trying to get back at all of the people who called him out for being a criminal and a bully, let us not forget that the rich asshole tyrant version of Biff Tannen in Back to the Future was modeled after Donald Trump. Thomas F. Wilson, who played Biff Tannen in the series, said that he's since been reached out to by bullies. People who have been forced in their lives as an adult to go out and apologize to people and realize that the things that they have done have made them who they are and what they have to do to make amends. Thomas F. Wilson in real life is actually a hell of a guy. But this is where art and reality differ, because don't expect Donald Trump to ever apologize for any of the horrible things he has ever done in his fucking life. This has been We Told You So. I'm really hoping this regime ends before it ends me.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Blessings. Hope you're all doing well. Just my 2 cents on this beef, Argentina cattle. So, Trump talks about tariffs and how they're going to benefit the U.S. Initially, you're going to feel a pinch. Things might get a little bit expensive, but they'll work themselves out. Fast forward a few months into his administration, into this term, and he sells out. My 2 cents. He really doesn't care about you guys. He talks a good talk. What I really think is he's doing a lot of behind closed door deals just to profit himself. He could care less about you. He talks about he's the only one that can do these deals. Well, I wonder why. If you know anything about this guy Trompas, is that he's selfish, he's greedy, and he only thinks about himself. If you think he cares anything about this country, you are mistaken. What he's really doing is securing more wealth for him and his family. He could care less about you. He didn't secure this beef deal with Argentina because he wants to help Argentina. He's going to have a new casino in Argentina. Bunch of mensos. What do you really think? Come on now. If he really cared about America, if he really cared about our cattle industry, don't you think he would not have done anything to secure beef from another country? Bunch of mensos. Really? Wow. You guys. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm not. Really. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents. Y'all have a blessed day.
Listen to this logic. He's doing deals behind closed doors to profit himself. He doesn't care about you. He's securing wealth for his family. And you know what? That's exactly right. This was never about patriotism. It was never about making America great. It was about business deals, about leverage, about using the presidency as a platform for personal enrichment. The Argentina beef deal? That's not random. Nothing is random. When you're dealing with someone who's spent their entire life cutting backroom deals, who's been sued thousands of times for not paying contractors, who's bankrupted multiple businesses, you think they suddenly became altruistic? No. Every policy decision is a transaction. Every trade deal has a kickback. Every executive action benefits someone in the inner circle. And the wildest part? People were warned, over and over. He's a con man. He's a grifter. He only cares about himself. But they didn't listen. Because he said the things they wanted to hear, he validated their anger. He gave them permission to blame others. And now they're realizing that loyalty only flows one direction, up, never down. He doesn't care about American cattle ranchers. He cares about whoever's writing the checks. And if Argentina's offering a better deal for his pocket, goodbye Texas, goodbye Kansas. That's not leadership. That's a hostile takeover.
Hey, Generation X on TikTok. Today I want to talk about socialism. And it is just incredible how the MAGA people are so incensed when we talk about not helping the farmers. Now, I've been on record as saying, and will continue to go on record saying, we should absolutely help the farmers. No doubt about it. Hands down, every time. They did vote for this. I'm sorry they voted for this, but it's a terrible thing. Just because I disagree with them personally does not mean I don't think we should help them. But the same people who say socialism is terrible and we have to get rid of the socialists are saying that we should help the farmers. So it is socialism. We all have a little bit of socialism in us. But then the same MAGA folks who pretend to be scripture and verse and love and happiness and Jesus, do not want the SNAP benefits to roll out to the hungry kids. So which is it? Is socialism only okay when you want it to be something that you agree with? Or is it just okay to help people who are in need? Generation X on TikTok, I need your opinion. I would like to have some MAGAs involved in this conversation as well. Explain it to me. Why is it okay to help the farmers? And why is it not okay to help the hungry kids? And what would Jesus do? Leave me a comment.
So I don't know if you guys saw the deal that Trump just made with China. So what they're going to do is they're going to buy 25 million tons of soybeans annually, with 12 million tons immediately being purchased. Just wanted to throw this out there for everyone that says that Trump hates the farmers. Weird.
Soybean farmers, you are about to be treated like a fool by the Republican Party and Fox News and some of the mouthpieces. You're about to get flooded with all this information about how Trump just struck this massive deal for 25 million metric tons a year for 3 years with China of soybeans, right? Trump saved you. The Republican Party just saved you, right? Saved your farm. You were getting 27 million metric tons. You were selling 27 million metric tons last year under Biden. He made a deal for less. And that doesn't even take into account the 6 months from May to October where there was nothing. You were getting paid nothing. The American Soybean Association estimates that soybean farmers lost an estimated $10 billion in those 6 months. $10 billion. 6 months of worry and fear and how am I going to make payments and what is going on by soybean farmers. And now Trump and the Republican Party are going to swoop in and say, like, look, we just saved you. They're the motherfuckers who took it away in the first place.
This is the whole scam laid bare. Start a trade war, destroy exports, cost farmers $10 billion over 6 months, then fix it with a deal for less than they had before. And the media spins it as a win. Look at this historic deal. It's like punching someone in the face, handing them an ice pack and demanding gratitude. Meanwhile, Brazil took the market share, signed long-term contracts, and built new relationships. They're not coming back. This isn't winning. It's damage control dressed up as victory. And if people can't see through it, they'll keep getting played.
With this tariff war, they're the ones who made your life shitty and made you live in fear. Now they're going to give it back to you and expect you to cheer them and be like, thank you so much. I can't believe you saved us. They're the fuckers who did it to you. Right? It's like a fucking robber coming up to you and stealing $27 and giving you 25 back and saying, are you going to thank me? Like, what the actual fuck? So watch this. Watch. It's going to be all over Fox. They're going to say, like, look at this historic deal. Incredible for farmers. I can't believe what he did for farmers. It's less than what you were getting. And you lost $10 billion in the process. Just think it through. They fucked you over. $10 billion. And now they're giving you less than what you were getting. I would not be happy.
American workers and American taxpayers have been taken advantage of for multi-generation, for decades. And it's time for somebody to stand up and put us first and put the country first and do what's best for the country, not what's best for the politicians.
Even if you as a farmer suffer.
That's right.
I mean, some people would hear that and be quite surprised that you're prepared to put your livelihood, your family's livelihood, on the line for the sake of politics.
Well, that's my duty as for being the head of my household. I've got to do what I got to do, what's going to be better for the future, better for the kids. It's not about today, it's about the long term. The long game is where the rewards are going to be.
But don't the price of tariffs and what happens in commodity markets like soybean, doesn't that affect you in the short term and affect your ability to provide for your family?
Look, tariffs will probably have a detrimental effect on soybean price in the near future. In the long term, it'll probably work out. I'm a farmer. I deal with bad weather. I deal with dry weather. I deal with torrential rains. We deal with hurricanes. What's a tariff going to do? You know, I got to raise a crop. If I was worried, I'd stay home and not raise a crop. If I was worried about it, I still got to get over there and raise my crop to get the price. If you don't get the yield, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I got to deal with all these other things. What's a tariff? I can't control that, so it is what it is.
I can't control tariffs, so it is what it is. But you could. By voting differently. You have crop insurance for weather and floods. You don't have tariff insurance. And saying it'll probably work out isn't a business strategy. It's hope masquerading as planning. Look, I get it. Farming is unpredictable. Weather, pests, disease, there's a lot you can't control. But policy, elections, that's literally the one thing you can control. That's your vote, your voice. And when you use that vote to support policies that directly harm your industry, then turn around and say, I can't control it. That's not wisdom. That's denial. Most farmers I know don't operate on probably. They calculate, they plan, they hedge. This is someone who got used to bailouts, used to safety nets while simultaneously complaining about other people's handouts. That's not rugged individualism. That's entitlement wrapped in plaid.
I actually agree with a lot of what he said there, even though he's a little misconstrued. All the stuff he said at the beginning, I agreed with. But then he said, but when it comes to tariffs, I can't control that. Well, you could if you voted differently. And you said that you have to worry about weather and floods and this and that, but you have crop insurance for that. You don't have tariff insurance. And it might be bad in the short term, but it'll probably work out. You're working on probability, just probably. Is that how farming works now? It'll probably be okay. I don't know farmers that deal like that. I really don't. And I've worked with tons of farmers over the years. I know a lot about farming. I know a lot about farmers. Most are generally good people, even if they vote like shit. They vote against their own interests constantly because they believe the lies that they're told. They believe the nonsense the Republicans told them and tell them. It's amazing considering that the Democratic Party, also known as the DFL, the Democrat Farm Labor Party, was started basically by farmers. And they've all strayed away from it because of feelings and hatred. That's it. That's what they voted for. Feelings and hatred. And your soybeans, yeah, it might not be good for now, but it might be okay probably in the future. Well, you think those soybean markets are going to come back to you? It sounds like you're kind of waiting for a handout. It sounds like you're waiting for your handout because you've gotten accustomed to it. You've been accustomed to the hands across America to support the farmers constantly. Farm aid and this aid and that aid for the farmers and bailouts and helping them from this and that. They're used to the money. They're used to having their handout now as they complain about people with their handout. Yeah. They're going to pay for this, and it's going to cost them dearly. And why would China just suddenly decide to come back unless it's so good? The deal that Donnie gives is so good that it just totally crushes the farmers. But he doesn't care because he's not going to be around, and he knows it.
Do you ever notice karma always shows up wearing a red hat? Because this is that. A MAGA mom is melting down online after realizing her Make America Great Again vote came with an expiration date on her groceries. Sis is on Snap and Wick, crying that she can't afford baby formula, rent, or food. And her own mother told her, "We voted for this." I mean, how do you clap back to the truth? She's typing paragraphs about how anxious she is, how the shutdown hit her husband's GI Bill, and how her kids are hungry. Meanwhile, the rest of us are watching this in 4K like, girl, weren't you cheering when others were struggling? Now she's mad that her family won't lend her grocery money. The same family that told everyone else to work harder and stop depending on handouts. Funny how bootstraps snap when it's your turn to pull. And the internet is roasting her, and rightfully so. Because every election, people like her vote against their own interests. And when the consequences finally hit home, suddenly, we're struggling. And it's not fair. This is called fuck around and find out, sweetheart. What's unfair is pretending you're above every system you rely on until it stops serving you. MAGA said they didn't want to help people, and now they don't. Enjoy the America you built.
A mom on SNAP and WIC can't afford formula or rent. Husband's GI Bill delayed by the shutdown. And her own mother said, "We voted for this." That's not cruelty. That's honesty. When you vote to cut welfare, you don't get to be shocked when your welfare gets cut. When you cheer for shutdowns, you don't get to cry when your benefits stop. When you vote for bootstrap politics, you don't get to beg family for grocery money. These are consequences, and maybe this is the wake-up call people need. The party has been telling you for years what they're about. Cut taxes for the rich, cut services for everyone else, let people sink or swim. And now, people are sinking, and the lifeboats were never coming. The worst part? Her kids are suffering. They didn't vote for this. They didn't choose this, but they're the ones going hungry because their mom wanted to own the libs. That's what kills me about all this. It's not just adults facing consequences. It's children, it's families, it's communities. And for what? So someone could feel like they won an argument?
November 1st, 42 million are gonna go starving, but Trump's gonna spend 300 million on a ballroom.
Get a job. And let's not forget the Democrats are the ones that are doing this. All Trump and the Republicans wanted to do was do a continued budget for next year. That's it. That's it. A continued budget. You know what a continued budget is, right? It means they are using the same exact budget of last year as they are using this year, which the Democrats last year signed for this budget. Why? Because Biden was in. So it's the same exact budget, okay? Now that we got that off the table, it's not Trump's problem that they fucking wanted to shut down the government. It's the Democrats. This is the other problem. Trump isn't spending the United States tax money on the ballroom. How many fucking times do you need to hear this? He is spending his money and his donors' money. Not your money, not my money, not our tax money. Get the fuck over it.
Here's where we land. Farmers losing livelihoods. Families losing benefits, communities losing futures, all while $300 million goes to a ballroom. This isn't irony, it's inevitability. When you vote based on hate instead of policy, when you vote based on ego instead of economics, when you punch down without realizing you're punchable too, this is what happens. Elections have consequences, policies have outcomes, and ignorance has a bill. Right now, that bill is coming due. So here's the lesson. Pay attention, learn, and stop voting against your own interests, because next time, there might not be a safety net left. Drop a comment, sympathy, or karma, like, share, subscribe.